Welcome to My Tais at Sunset. Happy Aloha Friday. I was just singing to and she was like, how do you even know all the words to Bippity Boppity Boo? And it's because I am a Disney fan / addict. I'm addicted to Disney.
Totally. I don't know how you remember those songs. It's crazy. Like all the words. And that is like the weirdest grouping of words.
It is. It's almost like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right? So like you sing it so much.
But that's like most of the song. It's just you just repeat that one phrase for most.
Salakadoola means menchikaboolaroo, and the thingamabob that does the job is bibbity bobbity boo, bibbity bobbity boo. Salakadoola menchikaboola bibbity.
I don't think Disney's gonna let us keep that.
Fine. Actually, that was like less than 10 seconds, so I feel like it's pretty good.
I think
you know
we're pushing it.
Anybody who's out there listening and loves Disney as much, just hit me up.
Our email is on our website. Go ahead and email Ty.
If you're a Disney fan, please email me because I want to be your friend. Period.
Yeah. That was very positive. So let's just keep sending the positivity out and setting those intentions for lots of laughs today.
Oh, yeah. There will be some laughs. There will be some weird things, but that's okay. What do you got on your list?
Happy Aloha Friday. I do have a list.
Oh, dear.
I woke up this morning to, I usually wake up to,
I hope you wake up.
Birds. I live in Hawaii. And the birds, they start I guess they start at like first light. And they're pretty loud. My neighbors used to have a mango tree. They cut it down, but there's another mango tree that's in another neighbor's yard. And the birds, the finchy birds, these little tiny ones, and some little Hawaiian birds, they're everywhere. And they make the cutest little peeps, you know. And then just yesterday, Mina birds moved in.
Uh-oh.
And they're not pretty little singers. They don't have the nice little sing-songy voice. I'm losing as I'm trying to catch mine back. I think I need to sip. I'm going to sip some of my beverage. It's Aloha Friday. No, but anyway, it's just like my family is like, oh my God, the Mina birds. They are and they don't stop. They just cry and the squawk, and it's super loud.
What if you got one of those like plastic owls and put it up there?
I do have a plastic owl I had one of my beautiful tomatoes and the rest were all stolen by birds.
Right.
So I did go and get the plastic owl, which my father named Charlie. I don't know why, but Charlie now is staring at my tomatoes, protecting them.
Well, do you want to know something also related to Disney a little bit? Is the secret to them not having birds anywhere like on their outdoor patios is that they put fishing line on the ends of the ceiling fans. And so it keeps going around and around. These like clear fishing line will smack the bird before it can get to the patio.
Oh, that's interesting.
So if you can find some way to put like a windmill up there with some fishing line on the end of it and then go smack the birds before they land. It's a gentle reminder not to land in certain areas. They learn quickly.
Well, my neighbors have a cat. And I don't know why that cat's not doing its job.
Because it probably has it too good.
It meows. It's like right there. It's right there. And I talked to the cat and I'm like, hey, come on, get the birds out.
Oh my gosh.
And it just looks at me, meow.
Well, some cats are just not nimble or young enough or spry enough to catch those kind of birds too.
I don't think it trained with that. Plus, I think this cat might think it's a dog because I saw that they adopted it as a kitten and they already had 2 large dogs that were older and they had a puppy too. So I kind of feel like this cat's growing up with dogs and just only knows how to be a dog now.
What can you do? So, what else is on your list?
Yeah.
Because I got things.
Oh, do we have a song?
I feel like I sang it.
Are they going to be your Disney song? Bippity Boppity Boo?
No, I didn't sing the whole thing. I mean, it has.
You sang the whole thing. That's our song of the
left.
week. Okay.
So I'm just like.
Since we started doing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it is, like over and over again.
You sang a lot of it.
Either way, I sang it, not in my best singing voice, but it was still there. So that's the song of the week, Bippity Boppity Boo, by the fairy godmother in Cinderella. So perfect. She does. I feel like the one from Shrek.
She has her
The
own
one from
album.
Shrek was awesome, but even though she was evil,
No, that was an amazing cast in Shrek. I love Shrek.
there are so many
it
like
holds up.
adult jokes in
It's
there.
totally holds up.
Like I would catch a few when I was younger, but I was like, I don't really know about this. Now I watch it again with my nieces, and I'm like, oh, this is not good.
But they're not going to get it till they're older.
C'est la vie.
It's fine.
Let it be. We actually acquired a new addition to the family.
Mm-hmm. Another one.
You're
getting
completely
them quick.
unexpected. I know. My brother's Bernie Doodle, so it's a Bernese mountain dog with a standard poodle mix. His name is Sarge, short for Sergeant White Tip, because he has a little tip of white on his tail. Very cute. They have the funniest like facial expressions. I saw him the other day and I picked him up. Just a very expressionless dog. He kind of just looked at me with his dopey eyes and hung there like a rag doll. And I was like, you're kind of cute. But I think he's just still young and he needs to like grow into his like body because he's quite big. He's actually huge for a puppy, 8-week-old puppy. I'm like, you are a really big dog.
He's going to grow into a big dog.
He's going to be huge. I saw one actually at the groomer, and it was 2 times the size of its owner, and rowdy as all get out. And I was like, this is a crazy dog.
Oh God, it might be as big as your donkey.
Yeah. So hopefully this one is well trained because my nieces are trying to take care of him and train him. He's not doing so great with the potty training, but consistency is key. So, as you mentioned, we are acquiring animals quite quickly. I actually wanted to adopt or rescue an animal, preferably a dog that could help me on the land and like sort of walk with me and protect me. Well, lo and behold, my brother's friend texted him and was like, "Hey, you want a dog? Puppy. Found a puppy, very young." And my brother was like, trying to sell it. And so I sold it to my mom. I was like, hey, probably should get this and protect the land and be out. It'd be an outside dog. Well, we got her. Her name is Sky. Her name has changed like 4 or 5 times. So I think she started off, I wanted to, follow the trend of like, a CH name. And I had somehow landed on Charmin. And I thought it was really funny because she's all white and she's got blue eyes. And
for your CH names, I suggested Cholula.
Yes, because she's McSpicy. She is so spicy. So properly, if we were following, a trend or like, how I would name my dogs, her name would have been Cholula McSpicy. But, and Charmin didn't fly because my mom was like, there's no way you're going to call her after toilet paper because she's had a little bit of diarrhea since we got her. But,
puppies
you're
going to
do
manifest
that, right?
You got to pick a name that you want to manifest. And
so
diarrhea is not it.
No, we knocked out those names. McSpicy, usually that comes with some intestinal issues. Then we went to Scout because it would have been Sarge and Scout. So very like military sort of thing. We had to change it because my dad was having a hard time saying Scout. He still has his like little bit of Chinglish like accent. So he couldn't say Scout. My mom was like trying to yell Scout and it wasn't like rolling off the tongue well. So we nixed that one. And my brother was like, well, I don't approve of like any of the ones that you're like saying. So I'd like you to, pick another one. So I said Storm because my brother and I had recently played the X-Men game. And when I don't know if you remember the old school one, but it's like a huge video arcade game. And every time you push like a new life or whatever, it would say the name. So it's like Storm, Colossus, Wolverine, Cyclops. And then my brother was playing Nightcrawler, so he was like, Nightcrawler, because he kept hitting the button to get like more lives. And so he was like, let's name her Storm. And then my really great friend, her name is Mai, and this is you. I'm talking about you.
Yes,
she was like, you don't want to manifest a shit storm, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I have been blessed with like a week of shit
diarrhea. I told you.
So Thursday I went to the vet And they were like, oh, is this Storm? And I was like, actually, her name is Sky because we don't want to manifest a shitstorm. And everybody in the vet clinic started cracking up. They were like, good call, good call. So I wanted to say, like, this very good looking vet tech, she was like over the moon about Sky, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, she's like sneaking her treats. And Sky starts getting crazy. And I'm like, look, you're creating a monster. I really don't want diarrhea in my car. Because the more you feed her this, like, miscellaneous stuff.
What goes in must come out.
Exactly. And I'm like, I kept telling her, like, I appreciate it. But how do you tell somebody that's kind of attractive, like, stop feeding my dog so she doesn't shit everywhere? Like, there's no way to say it. And so she kept feeding her, and I was like, all right, fine. And guess what? There was a shitstorm later on. But hopefully, I'm hoping she feels better because she's very lethargic and she's losing a lot of fluids, and we keep trying to keep her hydrated. She's growing very quickly. The vet was a little concerning. He was like, I'm not really sure what kind of breed she is, and I'm not sure her age, but she's going to be a pretty big dog based on her structure. And I was like, I covered her ears and I was like, don't say that. Don't say her structure. I don't know how PC that is for a girl, but just be like, she's going to be a very robust woman. I don't know. Something
Strong.
better than...
She's going to be strong.
She's going to be strong. She's going to be fortified. How about fortified? Fortified is good. You know what, ladies? For all you ladies out there, be fortified.
Be fortified.
Be strong. Yeah. That's my new thing. So that's one story that I have for the week.
I had the best name, though, which I'm sad got shot down because we both liked Game of Thrones. But I said, oh my God, you should name her Winter.
Stop it.
Because wouldn't it be hilarious
Your
to
facial
yell,
expression right now, I can't do it.
Winter is coming.
Oh my God.
Winter is coming. And then when she runs away, you could say, winter is going. Winter is coming.
You're terrible. You are so terrible.
Oh my God. I'm going to have a white dog someday. I'm going to name it Winter. Winter is
If our listeners could just see how proud you are of yourself, like because you named this dog Winter.
You didn't choose that. It would have been hilarious.
My brother laughed a little bit and he was like, this is so stupid. And I was like, well, you know what? Naming a dog like 4 or 5 times is pretty dumb. Normally, I'm very solid about their name. But this was so like left field that I wasn't ready. So...
Well, he was the one who was insistent on an S. So he wanted it to be S.
I would have preferred naming this dog after my dog that I had when I was younger named Shadow. I love the name Shadow. Shadow's easy to say. It's got the sh in it and,
Okay, so Hawaii has allowed you to not have to wear a mask outside. So when
outside.
You are outdoors... Yep, you don't have to wear a mask. And I can just say that when the pandemic hit, and then I used to go walking all the time, I literally went walking, with my mask kind of early on in the lockdowns. And it was so hard to breathe when you're just walking for miles and miles, and it was just sucks. So I am really grateful now that I'm vaccinated. I feel safer. And I will go outside walking. We're planning a hike now, a few hikes, and we're planning to go to the beach. I'm so excited. Right. I've been locked up. So I think I have not wanted to play tourist in Hawaii for years. Just really kind of over it.
I think I forced you when I was there, though.
Yeah, and it was fine. It's fine when you have someone who wants to go do fun things. And when we would go out, I had a great time playing tourist.
Of course. But
now...
Look at the company that you kept.
now I'm like itching to get outside. I'm like, let's go explore. Things that are new and the things that are gone and what's replaced it. Let's just go see. So I'm quite excited.
Why not? You know what? Life's too short not to enjoy the place where you were born and raised, right? Like I'm enjoying Houston. Houston has grown quite a bit. I can say that I am personally a little uncomfortable with big crowds. That's just naturally been kind of me. I don't like people crowding me. And so now that we're all maskless, I don't even have to wear a mask in the stores, like restaurants, anything. I can just, people know what I look like again. And And that's when I realized that maybe that a little bit too much barbecue probably in the past couple months. But,
This
you know,
summer's coming. You're going to be busy. You're going to be going out, especially
Oh,
when
yeah.
you start working on that land. You're going to have to remember and remind yourself to like drink fluids and eat.
yeah.
Yeah. Because when you
When I'm
start
out there-
working on things, you forget.
Yeah, when I'm out there now, like feeding the animals and stuff, I completely forget everything I'm doing. I'm just out there in the sun. You would be proud of me. I wear like a hat. I wear like long sleeves. I try to protect myself from those dinosaur-sized mosquitoes. I was attacked this week when I went out there with my brother. It had rained quite a bit. I don't even know how to describe this. I was wearing a rain jacket, a very thick one, and I didn't get really bit on my upper arms. Actually, I got bit the other night when I was outside trying to do something in my car, but I didn't get bit. But they managed to bite me on my back of my thighs, my butt. So,
But you were covered.
I was covered. I was wearing jeans, but my jeans are skinny jeans, and so they're not very thick. And I was noticing, like, I was looking at my brother because the gate had fallen. And I was watching him try to, like, put the gate back together, and I was helping him on the other side. I just noticed the mosquitoes were not hanging around, like, our upper torsos. They were between our legs, like, on his thighs, and where his butt should be in his jeans. But, you know, men have flat butts. So, like, I took my glove, and I started smacking him in the butt to get all these mosquitoes. They were, like, there was, like, a swarm of mosquitoes on his butt.
Hovering there.
Yeah. No, they were landing too. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and I started using my leather gloves, like, to, like, smack him. And he's like, stop hitting me in the butt. and I was like, no, there's so many mosquitoes all over you. And he goes, look at your butt. And I was like, you know, like, and I mean, we got in the car. We got in his truck. They were everywhere. We were killing them on the ceilings. You know, we're trying to hit them with the hats. They were like falling everywhere. And I was just like, I am miserable. So we're going to get a misting system. I'm itchy right now. I'm actually itching. That we're getting
thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I've got goosebumps too. We are getting a misting system. So a lot of places in the South, they have trucks that go every night and fog the neighborhood. Yeah. We're doing that for our entire land and we have these mosquito repellent sort of machines. They're called they're by Thermacell, and I turn mine on 5 minutes before I open the door to my car. They're very attracted to CO2 emissions, so they love cars because of the exhaust and everything. So they're just hanging out, and I have a video that I will share. They're sitting on the windowsill of my brother's truck waiting, and they're huge. They're huge.
Ugh,
so terrible.
Gross.
It's so gross.
I'm gonna continue the conversation about flies. So it's going into summer, and that's when the flies are usually kind of coming around. All of my neighbors pretty much have dogs, so there are flies everywhere. And and I have a dog, right? But here was the weirdest one: is I got flowers the other day, and they were roses and they were lilies. It was kind of a combo thing. And the lilies, as gorgeous as they are, they smell. They have a very strong smell, and it's not a pretty smell. And so my daughter looked it up, and she said, you know, usually when flowers have like a very strong smell, they're not pollinated by honeybees. They're pollinated usually by flies.
Oh, dear.
And so all of a sudden, I had like a dozen flies in my house yesterday. And so we took those lilies. I separated the roses and the lilies. And now the lilies are outside on my, I have a table outside by the pool. So they're out there. And all the flies that were on the inside, they flew themselves to the screen doors, and we just let them out. And they just all went whoosh right out.
Wow.
But somehow they all got in. And they were just they figured out how to get into my house. Now I do have a doggy door, and there's like a little gap around. And so I think that's how they got in. So now I have to actually just keep that door closed more often.
Well, they sometimes hitch a ride too on our animals.
Yeah. And then my dog will keep her head with the door So look, she'll be in the doggy door with just her head poking in or
Oh,
poking
no.
out. And I'm like, lady, in or out?
Oh,
You're
no.
letting the flies in. She has
Yeah,
a
do you
bad
remember
habit
that
of doing
mosquito net that you kind of took from my house
Yes.
that you inherited? I
Yes.
got one from my parents' door because my dogs take forever. When they're babysitting, my dogs take forever to come in.
Yeah.
So my dad like leaves the door open, wide open, and bugs will fly in. Now they leave the door open because they can't fly in because they have that thing, and the dogs go underneath and they like break the magnetic kind of barrier. It's really
Yeah.
funny, but I wanted to tell you some animal chewed a little baby hole in the middle of it. So a lizard or something chewed it.
I don't know what to
Crazy,
say
huh?
about that. That's crazy. So mine is on my bedroom door
That's hilarious.
because every once in a while there'll be one of those
Cockroach.
747s
Cockroach.
flying around
La
inside my
cucaracha.
house. Big, disgusting cockroaches. Because I do live in paradise, which is the tropics, which is a rainforest, and we do have cockroaches here. And it's
Critters.
They are everywhere. They're everywhere. And summertime is usually when they come out. And so I told you this one time that screen saved my life because I turned on the light and I was about to exit my bedroom, and that screen was closed, and right at eye level there was one, and I was about to like go through the magnets, and it was there, and I was like, oh my God, I could have died.
Oh my gosh. I would have screamed too, probably. I would have been terrified. I'd be like, what is this?
I had to call for help.
Yep.
Because I couldn't, I was obviously trapped.
That is
I
a
couldn't
true
leave.
natural disaster.
So I called for assistance, and it was taken care of. And then I could safely leave my house. But I mean, that's why I have it. It was actually more because flies usually get in, or mosquitoes are usually what I'm trying to prevent and keep out of my bedroom. Because you never want to have a mosquito buzzing around your head while you're trying to sleep. That is the worst sound
they're
ever.
scary. The sound is not great. I'm like, what is that? Ah, you know, like, and you hit your ear because they're right there. Oh,
The worst is when they
mosquitoes.
stop and you're like, well, now where are you? Are you biting
My
me?
brother bought one of those mosquito kind of like UV lights or whatever that zaps them. I went out there and looked at it. It is caked. Like you have to take a hose to it. It is so disgusting. And there's still a ton of mosquitoes everywhere. And I'm so over it. I hate mosquitoes. They're terrible. Bit me on my forehead. So I looked on Amazon because they like me, right? They don't like me as much as my dad and my nieces, but they do. And I found a full body mesh mosquito outfit. Like, of course, you wear clothes underneath it.
Isn't it the same thing like a beehive suit kind of thing?
I think the bee suit is more of like a Tyvek suit where it's solid, but this is like a mesh that you can wear, and it came with the hat and everything. My mom was like, if your thermocell doesn't work, and we bought some permethrin. My brother could not say permethrin to save his life. Anyway, that's another story. If the permethrin spray doesn't, because you can treat your clothes. She was like, if that doesn't work, you're gonna have to buy this, and it's like $30, but it would save me from getting bit on the butt for sure, because that's itchy.
Oh yeah, it's worth it.
So
It's worth it.
my brother and I went to REI, and I guess I had like credit. I guess they're called dividends. I didn't even know, but the more you spend, the more dividends you get, and then you can spend it on other stuff. So I didn't have to buy a bunch of mosquito treatment things, but. What's funny is my brother was like, "Oh, we should get some and he's like trying to pronounce it, and all I did was look at him and like start wiping my face because he was like, and he's like, "You stupid! I didn't spit on you," and I'm like, "Yeah, you did," and he's like, and I was literally standing in the store going, "Permethrin," and he's like, "Permethrin," and I'm like, "Why can't you say it?" And finally, we're at the register, and he goes, "Permethrin," and I was like, "Good job." I hope I'm saying the right thing. You know what? I need to Google this to make sure. Because that would be really stupid if I'm saying it wrong too. Right? Wouldn't that be stupid?
Permethrin. Is that right? Permethrin?
I think so. Permethrin.
Permethrin.
Not permethrin. Crap, he said it wrong. I said it wrong. We've been saying it wrong this whole time when we were joking.
We're going to just take that whole part out if you would like.
No, I think it's funny. I think this whole thing is hilarious. It's actually
Okay.
permethrin. It's Sawyer's
Okay.
permethrin pump spray treatment. But I mean, whatever. You know what?
Whatever.
Mosquito repellent.
Whatever works. Yeah, that's all it is.
Anti-parasite.
Well,
It actually can treat head lice and scabies as well.
Oh. I don't even know what scabies is. That sounds horrible.
Scabies are terrible. They're like little bugs that dig under your skin. They're just like chiggers.
I don't know what that is either.
No. Chiggers are like little bugs that also bury into your skin.
Oh, God.
Usually around your ankles.
I've not heard of those things, so maybe we just don't have them here, which, thank God, I've never had to encounter that.
There is a person that we will not mention ever again, or we try not to. They ran through a field and didn't realize that there were chiggers in them and like let them nest in their ankles for several weeks. That's how dumb that person was.
Wait, where were they doing that?
South America.
Oh, thank God that's far away.
Yes, but I mean, in the country, that's normal. That's why you don't ever wear like flip flops outside. I'm not going to be wearing flip flops outside unless I'm going to like a pool.
Oh, so my son has been, since you talked about your sushi experience, my kids heard it on the show, and then they're like, "Well, I want to go to Genki Sushi now," and so now we're planning Genki Sushi. But my uncle was so nice; he brought over some sushi yesterday, and he also brought apple bananas, really nice. But he brought over some sushi, and so I thought, oh, I don't have to take them now because they've got their sushi fix. And then my son's like, no, that's not the kind of sushi I want. He wants like eel and other ones. Yeah.
Yes.
Unagi. The sushi that he actually brought was like the more traditional Japanese sushi, which my grandmother used to make with the colored shrimp, like flakes, like the pink and the green.
Oh.
Or the red and the green.
What is that? Like a little...
It's a little bit of tuna inside, like a little bit of...
Yum.
And a cucumber or something.
I don't think Genki Sushi doesn't make that, right?
No, it's more... You'd have to go to an okazuya, Japanese okazuya to get it. And it would be like every grandma makes it like that.
Huh.
But,
interesting.
Oh, but speaking of bananas.
Bananas.
So in Hawaii...
In pajamas?
We believe... in bananas, that if you eat bananas, then you attract mosquitoes because your blood is sweet and they can taste it.
Oh, yummy.
That's actually a saying that people say in Hawaii, is that when you eat bananas, you're going to get bitten. Going back to sushi though. So my mom yesterday brought home poke, big container of poke. And I had this controversy that I'm going to bring up to you about poke bowls. And
controversy, huh?
Yeah, so my daughter would order her poke bowl. When she was in California, she'd crave it, and she'd Uber Eats or something like that, and the poke bowl would be delivered, and I'd be like, "Isn't that terrible? Because isn't the fish steamed, cooked by the time you get it? Because you have to do a poke bowl on hot rice, right? And then they build and they put the fish on top.
That's true.
So when you're here and you order a poke bowl, like if I went to Foodland or any of the places that I would order a poke bowl from, I would ask them to do the rice and the fish separate.
Yep, that's smart.
And then you don't put them together until you're just about to eat it, because you want your fish to stay cold.
Mm-hmm.
But she brought like a pound of the spicy ahi, which is my favorite. And she bought plain ahi poke, which needs a ton of shoyu. So, because it was just dry.
I miss poke.
Fresh poke, for sure.
I do.
Foodland they have two versions, and you have to know that the cheaper ones are frozen fish, and the more expensive price is going to be your fresh fish, fresh of the day. And it's always worth it to get the fresh fish because, oh my God, it melts in your mouth.
You're making me hungry.
I know. I also went to Fresh Catch
I
recently,
know.
which is another place that sells is famous for their poke and poke bowls.
Uh-huh.
And they also, I didn't know they make other things too. Like they had this katsu dish that I was like, oh, that sounds like a really awesome plate lunch. But I just went there.
Katsu.
I just went there for poke. My favorite. I'm testing out all the places. So Fresh
Mm-hmm.
Catch is. I thought they were a little more expensive. Plus the spicy ahi that I usually get, they had more sauce in there than they had fish. So I was a little sad about that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to pay for sauce. I want to pay for fish. I can put my own sauce on there if I have to. But the quality so far, my best one is Foodland's fresh fish and Tamura's. Tamura's is like always famous for
tomorrow's, yeah.
having the freshest
alcohol and
I know they're in a liquor store, but they used to be like a fancy liquor store. Like they would have like all the imports that you were looking for something. You have to go to Tamura's to go get it because they would have brought like the most selection. But then they also have like a really amazing poke selection.
Oh, why are you making me miss poke?
You can go buy a nice piece of ahi anywhere in the world.
It's not the same. For some reason, it just doesn't taste the same.
Even if you bought it frozen, you can defrost it yourself and you just do a really nice poke recipe, like a sauce, like shoyu and onion and green onion and a little bit of chili pepper.
Yeah, I'll definitely probably have to, get some poke soon. It's just like the poke places here are very expensive.
I always recommend buy your own piece of ahi. Buy a nice piece of ahi. Make sure you don't have a lot of the white in there. Just a nice solid piece of red ahi. Just a small chunk will go really far to make a nice poke.
Oh my, what are you doing to me? Now I want poke and I'm having barbecue instead.
Barbecue's not bad. And
no, it's not.
Texas, you're known for your barbecue.
Hey, what do you think about like the push to try to get everybody to go back to work? What do you think about that?
Well, I'm excited for the rebuilding of our economy and our world and what it's going to look like coming out of lockdowns. You know, I think the world is changing to be better. I thought a lot of workplaces were becoming toxic. And then it becomes more about politics between people. When you're working in groups of people or teams, there's always, not everybody always clicks, Right. So I think the separation of individuals to have to work remotely, it allows you to just focus on what your part of the project is. And you're not like harassed by anybody and you can just do your job, which I kind of like. True. I think a lot more can get done and these businesses and companies can save a lot of money by allowing their workforce to work remotely. And I think people will just be healthier because they're going to be working in an environment or place that is their own. Hopefully they're going to be paid enough to live someplace that's going to be homey for them and have all their creature comforts around them and they can support themselves.
I like the idea of like more of the workforce working from home. I think it's better just in general. Like we have all these beautiful big downtown buildings, but we should, I don't know. It's hard to imagine like downtown empty.
But I think it could also change and it could become something better. Make it something alluring for people to come out. Like what do humans want when they leave their environments? They want to go to beautiful restaurants. And I think restaurants also have to change. Yeah. Like they cannot just be hiring people to just be waiters and busboys and things like that. And they have to be people who come to a restaurant and every person working there has to want to be there because they love the idea of sharing really good food and having a really good time and hosting people. It's like a party every night and every table is a party and you got to have that kind of personality.
Yeah, but if you don't have like a personal investment, I've noticed like people who don't have a personal investment in it, it's hard for them to enjoy it.
So I think the people who would help those businesses to thrive need to be paid well. And they have to want that kind of environment, atmosphere, and that is what's going to make it more appealing for people to want to go to these places, is because, hey, that place is like a party. That place feels like I'm coming to, my family's house for a gathering or something like that. You know where I get that from is from Star Trek. You remember the movies? Then people really didn't have to work. They just did things that they loved. And there were people who had restaurants, and they just did it because they really loved people. They loved feeding them. They loved making them happy. And I was like, I wish that would kind of be the new world.
Well, we can always hope.
We can always hope. But there are a lot of places in Hawaii, especially restaurants and bars, that don't have a lot of people working them. And it's just because they need to pay them more. They lost a lot of these young people who would just kind of work for whatever they could get paid to other states that were open, like Florida. Yeah. So when you come to Hawaii, just know that a lot of our businesses, we're still understaffed.
Quite a bit, I imagine.
Yeah, quite a lot. And, the rental car prices are still super high. And people are actually just buying used cars because it's cheaper than renting a car.
That's crazy.
They're just buying a used car.
If I had a secondary car in Hawaii, I would just rent it out.
But you'd also have to store it someplace, so I think what they're doing is they're buying them and then they're donating them. So if you end up coming as a tourist and you end up having to buy a car because it's cheaper than renting one, there's a lot of charities that will take your donation and then you get to write it off on your taxes.
I don't think I'll ever be desperate enough to buy myself a car in a travel destination. I think you just wait it out a little bit and Hawaii will settle down.
Yep.
Well, with that, it's been already time flies when you're having fun. Yeah. Just like to say thank you to all our patrons and our supporters. It's been really fun. And, we always have really great adventures to talk about. I'm sure more things will happen or we'll forget about, we have forgotten about things that we wanted to talk about. But just go ahead and drop us an email if you're ever interested in maybe some ideas or just want to talk to me about Disney.
Or if you have questions. If you have questions.
And definitely check us out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I am starting to update things. My blog is up. It's your turn now. Tag your it.
Yep, I'm it.
Your turn for a little bit of blog action. And we're on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And all the things, I guess. So
yeah, we just recorded a brand new Patreon video that should be up soon, where we talk about paddling with this beautiful video, and just to hear us, if you want to hear what we have to say about it and some of our adventures. So
we probably had more to say about it, but this was our first time doing it, so we're going to keep trying to watch some videos and add commentary.
We'll do more of those because it was just a lot of fun.
So check us out, mytaisatsunset.com, and we will talk to you next Aloha Friday.
Happy Aloha Friday, happy weekend, and until we meet again, ahui ho.